15 historical events that surprisingly happened at the same time. 1. Mammoths were still alive when the pyramids were built. The last woolly mammoths survived on Wrangel Island. They only died out about 1650 BC. This was 1,000 years after the pyramids at Giza were built. 2. Oxford University is much older than the Aztec Empire. The Aztec Empire was founded in 1428. It was defeated by the conquistadors in 1521. Teaching at Oxford began around 1100. It continues to this day. 3. Fax machines are as old as the Oregon Trail. Alexander Bain patented the electric printing telegraph in 1843. The Great Migration on the Oregon Trail began the same year. 4. Saturn's rings are younger than the dinosaurs. The rings and moons of Saturn were formed 100 million years ago. The last dinosaurs went extinct about 65 million years ago, but most of them lived about 145 million years ago. 5. The Colosseum is as old as the Gospel of Luke. This Roman amphitheater is the largest ever built. It was completed in 80 AD. The Gospel and the Acts of the Apostles were written about the same time. 6. The oldest government building in the U.S. predates the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock in December 1620, but there was already a government building in New Mexico. The Palace of the Governors in Santa Fe was erected in 1610. It's the oldest continuously occupied public building in the U.S. 7. Swiss women couldn't vote until the moon landings. A 1971 referendum granted them the right to vote. The U.S. sent the lunar roving vehicle to the moon that same year. 8. Nintendo was founded in the era of Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper haunted London from 1888 to 1891. Nintendo was founded in Japan in 1889. The company originally made playing cards. 9. George Washington had no idea dinosaurs existed. Washington died in 1799. The first dinosaur fossils were discovered in 1819. They were only described in 1824. 10. Humans explored space before they agreed on plate tectonics. Alfred Wegener described continental drift in 1912, but it was only fully accepted in 1967. At the same time, NASA was winding down its Gemini program. 11. The Brooklyn Bridge was being built during Custer's last stand. The Battle of Little Bighorn occurred in 1876. The Brooklyn Bridge was already being constructed. It took 6 more years to complete. 12. Elizabeth II and Marilyn Monroe were born in the same year. They even met once at the 1956 Royal Film Performance. They were both 30 at the time. Monroe died in 1962, while Elizabeth lived until 2022. 13. The London Underground opened at the time of the U.S. Civil War. The first line began operating on January 10, 1863. The Civil War went on until 1865. 14. Buffalo Bill lived to see the Zeppelin era, the epitome of Wild West. Buffalo Bill died in 1916. World War I had been raging on for 2 years. That same year, German Zeppelins bombed Paris. 15. A 21st century tortoise met Charles Darwin. Darwin collected Harriet the tortoise from the Galapagos Islands. That was almost 50 years before he died in 1882. Darwin dropped the tortoise off in Australia. She went on to live 176 years and died in 2006.